One of the things about coming on and doing video logs live is you've got to want to. And not all the time do I want to. But if I don't video log, if I don't diary, if I don't put things together at times where I really don't want to come on and go live, then I know that I put myself in some form of risk or jeopardy because of the nature of the system that we currently live in. People always go on about the one world order coming. I've been trying to tell you, no, the one world order has always existed. It is just that people have started to suss out that this thing exists, and people are only just starting to work out where these per se lines exist. Now, I'm British. I live in Great Britain, and I was reading an interesting book just to point something out to you. I was reading something about Princess Diana the other day when she first met Prince Charles, and straight away they say immediately the police that were put in to protect her. And I was watching one of my little Christmas films the other day, and it was of the daughter of a president who just wanted to go out and dance with her mates. And it was the story of her escaping the entire entourage that lives around her with the security put in because she's the president's daughter. Whether it be because of this diagnosis of Asperger's, or be it that I disassociated at such a young age that I was able to see things from a different perspective, and also because my nature has always been in people watching and understanding why people do what they do and why people don't necessarily, my actual like real thing that I really wanted to understand when I first ever got into psychology is what's called attributions. And an attribution is basically a perception that somebody has of someone, and they make up schemas based on their own understanding of how they perceive the behavior that somebody has just exhibited. So take example, you go into a shop and the shopkeeper is really, really happy and smiley with you, really pleasant with you, and you go, oh, that's a really nice person. You've made a judgment based on your interaction with that person. You go in the shop another time and somebody is really shitty with you, and you think, God, you know, what a fucking cunt that person is. And again, you're making a judgment. But if I then told you that the manager had just been walking around the shop that week and had turned around to the happy, smiley person who greeted you with a smile and said, if you are not polite to the next customer that walks in, you're going to get fired. And actually, the person who was really pissed off had just also been told the same thing. And he's like, well, actually, you know, I always am, because the manager was directing it at the person who never did. So actually, the person who was happy, smiley was being fake with you. And the problem that we have in this world, and certainly with social media and families and friends and communities, is everyone's a fucking fake. Everyone, even me, we're all fucking fakes. We are all fakes of our true selves. We are fakes of how we communicate with people. We are faking what we want and what we don't want. We are faking how we live our lives. We are faking how we try to perceive ourselves to people. We are fake in telling our children that Father Christmas is coming and they're going to bring you everything that you want. And we are fake with putting our children into this school with this perception that we are dropping our children off to be educated and taught something that we, the parents, can't do for our children. So therefore, our children wake up in the morning getting up for school, and many children don't want to do this, and they know in their hearts and intuition that this isn't where they should be going or what they should be doing, but they grow up knowing that you have to go to school. But the reality is they do have to go to school, because if they don't go to school, the consequences is you can go to jail. It's just the same with your TV license, which, funny enough, I might even have on my little pile that I'm dealing with right now. And this is just this address here. This is not even my paperwork prior to my life. This is just what I've got to get my shit in order to keep this fucking horrible fucking existence that lives around me together. Because, you know, a chair and a social worker and a health visitor and all these people who seem to know what's best for me and what's right for me, who make a judgment on me based on my reaction to them, my reaction to their bullshit. I've just watched a video of a mother who's gone to speak to social workers and I had to cut it off because now she's threatening to throw the tree out and everything like that. And that behavior isn't going to get her son back. That behavior is not going to get her son anywhere near her. In fact, that behavior is going to actually fuel them to knock down any form of contact and protect the child from a crazy mother. What is crazy? Okay. How many people out there have got boyfriends, girlfriends, husbands, wives, exes who go, you're fucking crazy, you are, you're mad, you're fucking mental? That's discrimination against mental health. That's illegal. That's emotional abuse. If somebody has a physical condition and is tired and is resting, and somebody says that they're lazy and they are literally at the fucking exhausted, and they force that person to carry on and keep going, that's abuse. So not only do we live in a fake world with fake people, everything is actually quite abusive. Emotional abuse. Today, I was issued with an £880 fine and 6 points on my licence for a crime I haven't committed. In fact, even in court, they even said I haven't actually been charged with the offences that they caused. I've been charged with not attending court and not responding to their acknowledgement letter. They have evidence that I was in a hire car, therefore I had all of the proper wang dang doodah stuff that was recording the speeds and everything at the same time because it was a hire car. So luckily it shows that it was just a road that was slowed down because monster trucks was on. So I hadn't committed any speeding fine. It was actually 60 and I was doing 59 and they were trying to claim it was 50, but it was just a slow road. So overfill of traffic, and I'd already come out of it. So it's their computers. So I haven't actually been charged of the crime that they say I committed. I have been charged with failing to attend. So basically, I'm going to get a letter sent to me, probably arrive tomorrow, that says I have to pay £888 by a certain time. If I do not, because it's actually a court-issued one, they can literally pick me up by the police and imprison me. Because what it actually says on the letter, if I've got it here, this is what I mean by bullying and how we as a society are forced to get up to go to work to pay our bills. Or if we weren't ever given the tools to make money, time, leverage our time, products or services in order to capitalize and buy things, trade, So if we were never taught to trade and we didn't function well in education, and we have other existing conditions that make life a little bit difficult than people who get up with their feet hitting the ground and love life and know who they are and what they stand for and what they're doing. And is there anyone actually who really actually can achieve that in this world? Because we know it's only now. The internet's going to be the worst thing, but at the moment it's a really good thing. And what it's done is it's given us all an opportunity to see things differently. Per se, most of us Western people have grown up thinking that all black people are completely poor and live out of wells and scrabble through, things, and we are seduced into giving all of our money away to build, these water systems. We as a world, as a collective world, have all we need. Yes. The water system is there. It exists. There is free water for every damn one of us all around the fucking world. The oil exists around the world globally. It exists in the core for every person who is here. There is enough properties built on the entire fucking world to house everybody, their cat, dog, family, and everybody else. There is enough currently existing right now. Crops, imports, food, a lot of shit food that's created, but there is enough for us as a planet, as a world, to be distributed between us. The problem is we live in this divide of kings and queens. That's pretty much it. The chessboard. So when people say the one world order is coming, the one world order existed way back in like 400 and plus fucking years ago, and was just carried on by families who've kept things going based on a game of Monopoly, based on who can collect the most land and who can have the biggest castles and who can have, you know, material things that you can't take with you when you get in that box, when you die, when I die. So when all of a sudden, Kelly opts it out of this world and you op it, because it's the only certain thing that's ever going to happen. These physical bodies will die. That's the only one thing that we know is 100% truth in this big planet existence that we live in. We born and we will die. And we will either dodge or pay taxes in between, because that's what it's about. So how do you explain to a bunch of people who have never studied history, who've never studied psychology, who've never studied science, who've never studied reason, who've never studied politics or law or physics or quantum physics or anatomy or spirituality, who've never looked at all of the dynamics that exist from, the plates that exist in the alignment of our planet, to the platelets that exist inside us, everything from perpetual transmutation down to the fact that it's a cup, and this is paperwork. The problem is I love people. What I don't like is paperwork. And we all talk about it, don't we? We all talk about like what's the word? The red tape, the bureaucratics, all this stuff. The fact that we've got all of this voting going on, and if you don't vote, by the way, it all goes to the people who are already in power. So since 2010, basically the Conservatives come in, and there's a group of people that pretty much go play golf, sit around a table, have lots of dinners together, and try to raise as much money as possible for all the poor people. And it comes back to the good old give a man a fish, teach a man to fish. And we have all of this knee-jerking stuff that goes on at the top, sorry. So it's all, pictures of the homeless and pictures of children in foster care and children living on the streets and all the destitute that goes on. And they go and have these big balls and these big fundraisers, and celebrities are made by us, by the way. We choose to follow them, we choose to watch, we choose to put them on the pedestal. But this comes back to what I was saying about, is there anybody truly who knows their passions and stuff who can just go out there and do that? Because at the end of the day, the only way people either make lots of money or no money is based on them applying the knowledge that they have into action. It's about compounding. You know, okay, so if I said to you, look, I'm going to give you £5 million. You get two choices. You can have £5 million, or you can have one penny that compounds over 5 years. Would you choose to take the £5 million off me now and go, or would you choose to have the one penny that compounds over 5 years and go off and live the rest of your life, you know, as that is? Well, I can tell you now that the one penny would be worth like 10.5 million in 5 years, because it's the little things that we do. It's the little things that we do every day that build the life that we have around us. But it's rented every day, because you can lose the things that you have around you just as quickly as you can gain them. It's all about what we are in tuned with, you know. So, and I'm so out of fucking line. I'm not here to teach or preach. I'm just here to get out of my head and say what's on my mind. And also because I don't actually have people in my life, and that's something that I choose at this particular point, because I genuinely cannot cope with everybody else's beliefs or opinions anymore. Take that, the film The Labyrinth, when, you know, she's gone into this labyrinth. The moment she's got there, she's manifested someone who can show her straight how to get to the castle, but immediately that person directs her into the wrong direction, because he doesn't want to go to the castle, so why should she want to go to the castle? And that's the problem with people. People will tell you that you can't do something because they can't do it themselves. And for the last 4 years and for the last 10 years, well, 9 years, I've been up against people who don't believe in themselves. So therefore, why should they believe in me? I haven't been trying to do anything for myself. I've been trying to heed people to a warning that if our government doesn't get its fucking act together, that we, the people, don't have the tools to live in a society where we have to be self-sufficient, because we have a codependency with the system, a codependency that they created, that it wasn't me who said blame the system in the papers. That was the editor, Chris Maguire, who said that. I had somebody come out to interview me. She was a trainee. She took it to her editor. The editor then decided to write it his way. Then the Daily Mail decided to edit it this way. There was a war between those two editors as well. It was fuck all to do with me. They used me. They pawned me out, mate. They fucking wrote what they wanted to write. Even the fucking New Woman magazine, I didn't say why shouldn't people on benefits go and brush their hair. They decided to use my thing as a platform to say what they wanted the fuck to say. You know, I didn't have any control over that. I didn't pay them to write the article for me. I didn't go there and say, this is my business. This is like, say if I'd had the best bread in the fucking world. This bread is amazing. You eat this bread, you can eat this bread all day and you'll never bloat, you'll never get fat, and it provides you with every nutrition that you need and want. You don't need nothing else in this world other than this bread. At the end of the day, that product's got to get out to the public in order for that public to buy into that product, in order for me to sell that product. And that's what the papers do. That's what magazines do. It's not about people going, oh, I want to be all over the papers. It's about, you have to have a billboard. It's the same as the MPs that are running. You know who's the runners are, because they're the ones with the bigger banner outside their front houses, and their locals have all got little ones around them in their little communities, and a couple of little surrounding areas. They only need 10 people to get in, for fuck's sake, you know, and £500. And it's about who votes, who's in the club, and who chooses. It's those that don't do anything about this, well, they just make the decisions for us, and we get on with it. So, and occasionally someone might challenge this. So I have to make a decision now and challenge quite a lot of stuff, because prior to George Osborne making his announcement in 2010, I had stability. I had foundations. I had a home. I had all 4 of my children with me. I have 6 now, but I had the 4 children that were with me prior to 2010. I had a good community. I had a thriving, fucking very, 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 very successful model that would have been implemented into this system, that would have been in everything, health, wealth, and relationships, and the dynamics. And I'd worked on it for, you know, many years to make sure that I'd looked at everything. I mean, I even went to fucking ghost hunters nights just to get a perspective of people who were into that. You know, I went to bikers things just to get a perspective of, you know, bikers. I went to fucking every religion and every church that fucking existed, from Catholic, Mormons, Hare Krishnas, you know, lived in a Buddhist center for 6 weeks, you know. I really, really took this seriously, to understand, when you're looking at Great Britain as a whole, then you can't design a system to challenge Britain per se, because right hand, left hand. It was a personal development program. That's what the paper said. It was a personal development program to give people choices, but I was delivering it from the benefit system and through. And it was basically the step that was missing in the benefit system, because any person who goes to the benefit system knows, one, if you're a single mother and you have a disability, you don't meet both officers. They're 2 separate things. I said it wasn't holistic. I said one of the difficulties with the system is that it wasn't personal centered. And whether you had social services involved, whether it was the education system, whether it was the NHS, policing is different, because that's about accountability. Courts is different, that's about accountability. But all of these systems that exist, social care and education, and all of housing, all of these things are there to provide basic needs. And when somebody has to go to the doctors because something's not right, or somebody turns to social care because they might need some help with anything that they actually provide, or a child at school is struggling with something and you need to get extra support and extra help in, it's my life. When I go to the doctors, it's my life, not theirs. They're not in control. They don't make the decisions. They're just advisors and general practitioners to then point me to the specialist person. That doesn't make me a narcissist, and that doesn't make me have entitlement. That is just, they are general practitioners, and we get referred to as specialists. That doesn't make us entitled, as this psychology is going on. The psychology that exists around the globe, especially within the UK, United Kingdom, united with England, Wales, Scotland, and one other, England, Ireland, oof, not Southern Ireland. Well, I don't know what's going on with all of that. Hey there, Deborah. Then the concept of that psychology is that we are born at the age of 4, it's now 2, but 4, we then go to school, our parents, so actually we're born, then we are registered. So we have an NHS number, and we registered and we have a birth certificate. And then with that birth certificate, we can then get bank accounts and we can apply that we have a child and housing. We can apply for child benefit in this country. So that's not salary driven. That is just what this country does for people who have children, just a little bit of extra help. That isn't, like I've said, that is not, I think it's up over 52,000, but it doesn't make much difference. But that is just something that this country does. It is exactly the same as our welfare and benefits system. People at the top are genuinely trying to help. This is the saddest thing about it. But unfortunately, when somebody is working from themselves, the first thing is shelter and protection. When someone knows that they have unlawfully taken something, they will protect themselves. When somebody knows that they are committing a crime and they see a police officer, they will protect themselves. We live in one world down, we the peasants. We used to stand outside and wait for our bread, remember, because, you know, we either were shipped off to the factories or we were put into, you know, our work service, and those that were unfit for work were put into institutions, and in that institution they lived, be it banging mental case or be it that you looked different. That also went down to ugly people, whatever you consider ugly to be. I believe that ugliness comes from the heart. But, you know, Hunchback of Notre Dame was considered ugly, you know. So people, like even clefts, in some countries, a child is born with a cleft and they are demonized and thrown out of the family. Here we have people with helping hands that give surgery to our children, and we don't have to sit there in the UK here and worry about what that's going to cost us. If I go over to Spain and my son breaks his arm, it would cost me £3,000 to take into a hospital. If my son falls over here, I had three accidents and one A&E, nearly had to go back to A&E again. But when my son bangs my head here, I can, one, either ring and a fucking van will come right to my fucking front door and bring a fucking suitcase into my house and they will deal with it here and there, or they will get my son and they will drive, pay the petrol and take me up to the hospital if it's an emergency. Or I can get myself up to the hospital and there will be somebody there who I don't pay to take my details, and there'll be somebody there that I don't pay who will triage me, and there'll be somebody there that I don't pay who will give my child that thing. And if I'm in a car accident, you know, these blue lights turn up and they whiz me off to the hospital and they give me surgery, or they fix me and they put me in hospital. And their intentions when they get their hands on me is not how can I kill this person, what can I do to fuck this person out, and oh my goodness, I'm going to make a mistake. Yes, some people turn up drunk. Some doctors are overtired. They work lots of shifts, lots of hard work. They've gone to uni for 7 years and paid lots of money to get these helping hands to help somebody's heart still beat. But again, it's a system that's abused. People sit down at A&E because they're drunk. They've had problems, and people don't turn up to appointments. And 172 people just at the local hospital here attended last month. Only one of those was a major incident. We have all these different places, A&E, major things, little things. Same with social services. We have child protection that's there for the criminals. And then we have early years, team around the child and children in need. These are different services, different systems, different funding, different needs. But the problem is it's all gone because it then just goes into the family courts with divorce, with all these other different areas. And the problem is, and it's interesting to watch Graham and Jenny, Because Graham and Jenny have come from literally being in private rental. Yes, they've had benefits. They met somebody for their benefits, disability, but they didn't have people in their lives. And now they're in a Roberts Centre where people turn up every day and people come in and they want information and paperwork and money off of them for things that they're not quite sure what it's about. And they've completely taken control of their lives. They tell them where they live, what they do, where they can go, what they're allowed to do, what can go on in the house, how they can have the house. And it's very, very difficult once somebody takes control of you. It's exactly the same in a relationship. A mum and dad are not there to control their children. Children are not to be controlled. Children are not to be told who they are and what they should be and when they can speak, and told to shut up and you know, to be seen and not heard, as it was only literally 20 years ago, 30 years ago. Children are a blessing. Children will be the future of this world that we exist in the light and dark fight that goes on. The challenge that I have right now is I am in the middle of, if I don't can take control, and I've been in this situation before, I don't can take control of my life, somebody else will. But what is control? Control is being responsible for your decisions and choices and understanding the consequences that those decisions and choices make. The problem I've got is I'm dealing with bureaucrats that don't give a shit about the consequences and actions in my life. Unfortunately, not many people do. I have every right to be fucking fuming. I have every right to be fucked off. I have every right to be pissed off. And I have every right to not trust people. Because unless somebody is in your life, per se my life, use me as an example, or your life, then their intentions in your life or my life should be to share experiences with you, to share experiences with me, to spend time together doing things that we love to do. You know, if we wanted to spend time together, then I would assume we would want to spend time together that makes us laugh, that keeps us happy, that gives us a good feeling. Nobody wants to spend time with people that, you know, makes them feel shit and makes them feel bad. And I used this as an example the other day because I fucking hate the woman over at the church who runs personal centered planning. And I actually have here somewhere the original template for personal centered planning because I was involved in the making of it. Neil's dead now, unfortunately. I think I actually have it here. It might be on my other bundle. But what my point is, I actually have here, it's actually Dean's paperwork, this one, so I can't actually show it all, but it's Dean's version of some of my paperwork. So this one's my one, so I can show you. So basically, my name's Kelly, given to me by my father because he had a crush on the woman in red, Kelly LeBrook, and the other one, Kelly in Charlie's Angels. So that's why I got my name. According to other people, Kelly means warrior maiden. I'm just Kelly. It's the name I was given. It's spelt with an IE because my mum changed it when I was 11, but I was actually born Kelly with a Y. My footprint goes around this wherever I go. At the moment, it's on my sofa. It's sitting in this little box, watching and talking to you via a box. Wherever we go, we will either spread love, joy, peace, harmony, and prosperity to others, or we will drain and take and blah, make people feel shit and miserable and sad. Or we'll just be in neutrals, like driving a car, isn't it? You got to go through the gears. So, in order to, one, you've got to know where you're going. So literally, or you're walking, but I stick with the car. You go, right, okay, I've got to go to the shop. Fantastic. Or I've got to go to pick so-and-so up. So before you even get in that car, you know where you're going. And you've either got a sat nav that you can go boom, 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 and it will direct you straight there based on satellites, or you will know the roads enough and you know that when you drive, it will take you from A to B where you want to go. And you know that when you get in that car, you turn the engine on. One, it needs fuel. Two, it needs to be MOT'd. The reason that it needs to be MOT'd is because if we have clapped out cars on the road, it becomes a risk to other people if your car is not roadworthy. So if you've got a car over 3 years old, then it doesn't need an MOT. Younger than 3 years old, then they know it's under warranty. It shouldn't need an MOT, but they do expect it to be serviced each year. It's not to be cunts to us. It's to just eliminate irresponsible problems. It's the same as people getting to 64, I think it is, or maybe even younger, and having to redo their test because nobody wants somebody with Alzheimer's who doesn't know where they're going or can't remember the street roads and sitting there, or somebody who's going slightly blind banging up your ass because you couldn't quite see. So we do need these policies, guidelines, rules, regulations, laws. But we, the human being, was taught to live by the natural laws of the universe. And that is that we will either be in resistance or we will be in our blessings. And that is all based on the way that we think. And unfortunately, if I put you in a canoe and the river is going that way, and I put you in a canoe facing you that way, and I go and push you to go that way, well, you ain't going that way because the water's going that way, mate, and it's going to spin your canoe and it's going to take you that way, or you're going to go backwards downstream. And that's exactly the same as life. That when we are constantly trying to swim or canoe in the wrong fucking direction, it doesn't work. But when we get into the flow, and in natural flow, everything just comes together. Yeah, you might hit a few little things, but it's fine. But you have to, you need your oars. Do you know what I mean? But if you then get two people in that canoe, and one's trying to mow upstream, and the other one's trying to go downstream, then it doesn't quite work. But if you needed to actually go upstream just a little bit to try to get out, and you got two of you or three of you going, you got more chances of breaking and through and pushing. But you can't always be in that constant fucking pushing and smashing through fucking walls. There were walls because it wasn't your door to go through. It didn't have a knocker and a, hey, knock and the door shall open, because it wasn't your path to take. It wasn't your story. It wasn't your journey. It wasn't your destiny. It wasn't your mission or path. Not one of us in this planet was born to go to sleep at, say, 10 o'clock at night, wake up at 7:30, put on our school uniform, go to the education institution to be taught about the kings and queens and those before us and how we to do this, and the religions and tens, thousands and units, and to be trained into this service that exists, that is to feed the Queen to keep things going. Do I think the Queen is a good person? I actually do. I actually do. I actually do think that she genuinely has done her best to... I got shit teeth, but I certainly haven't got black teeth falling out, and we don't have smallpox, and we're not stood outside the Queen's quarters asking for bread, begging, with food stamps being thrown at us, you know, and we have advanced as a world to a level that actually we do have choices. We can walk past a for sale sign and go, wow, what a beautiful home. I would like that home. But there are things that you need to do that. Do people sometimes just give you homes? Yes, they do. People leave you homes in wills. Sometimes things turn up in ways that you could never have imagined. But it doesn't matter whether we're under a one world order. It doesn't matter whether your mother and father want to control you. It doesn't matter whether your education system want to teach you what they have available to you and not what actually would excite you. And it doesn't matter whether your family or your friends even believe in you. No one can take your smile away from you. No one can take your hope away from you. No one can take your joy away from you. Nobody can take away your dreams and your aspirations. And the only person that cuts that off is you, by believing that it's for them and not you. That it's kings and queens and princesses that put on a ball gown and go to a royal ball. We are all welcome to the mayor's ball in your town and country. You can all dress up in ball gowns. Yes, you're going to have to pay for a ticket to go, but you know, it's a fucking 3-course meal and entertainment by celebrities and big people all in your local area. So, you know, they're fundraising, for fuck's sake, to give to the people on the streets and in benefits and people with severe conditions. So why would you not want to go and contribute to this to help somebody? You know, it's the same as cars. You know, the person who has the £300 clapped out car that breaks down that they're constantly replacing, which I have been through. I've gone up to a £700 car now. You know, to those who drive something in their needs, there's no point having a fucking Range Rover if, you know, you are a person on your own and you just drive from so-and-so to London every day. You know, there are cars built for a purpose. You know, they were for people on farms and things like that. Do you know what I mean? So it is about living in your needs. Wants is another thing, but if you want something that much and it's in line with your passions and your joys, only you can propel that away from you. So I'm struggling right now because every time I try to make a decision, the only thing that I can come up with is I've got to go to court. So in front of me, hence why my statement says, would you go into the lion's den? Applications to the courts. So I have a C1 form, which is an application for an order. And I have a C2 form, which is an application for leave to commence proceedings. I have an application for an injunction. And I have an application for a contact order under Section 26 of Adoption and Children's Act. I am still living in the residual consequences of Aaron and Faith being taken. I have here somewhere, unfortunately, see how many parking ticket letters I've got. This is just my parking ticket. Just the parking ticket. Warning of further legal action. More notices. More notices. Removal warnings. Oh, what's this one here? This little red one. Shall I tell you something as well? Where's that little red one? I can see it there. So I know the date on that. Oh, fuck, that's a new one. 21st of the 11th, 2019. To remove £408. Do you know what? I don't know one fucking parking ticket. And again, it is all consequences, because when you're on a mission, your children have been taken. If you want to go and park outside the MP's fucking door until he speaks to you, you'll go and do it. You don't care whether you're coming back to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 parking tickets. I've rolled around London so many times. You know how many congestion charges I have because of protests we've done? You know, I mean, this is all literally from when I literally went from Downing Street and broke my gag to eventually coming in here and trying to get my life back together, because people don't realise I was train hopping everywhere. I was getting train tickets. I was getting fines. I was parking outside David Cameron's. I was getting parking tickets on a daily basis. I was going into London with the banners and everything on the car. You know, I even put the car on Trafalgar Square, which which got me a 300 quid fine. Which again still haven't paid. It's all in the paperwork. And then obviously I was stopping traffic, and having to nip in and out, following MP's buses, all that sort of stuff. You're not thinking about ringing London and going, I'm coming into London today, I need to pay my congestion fees up front. And also I didn't have that. Like literally, Aaron and Faith were taken on the 13th of December. They applied for my child benefit and my benefits the very next day. So not only did they take the fact that I was in a 3-bedroom rental, so straight away I don't have that entitlement to it because Aaron and Faith are not with me. I wasn't a mother on income support. I was a mother on tax credits, self-employed. I got stopped from being self-employed, being in Save the Family. And then I'm left with all my benefits, my children gone, my benefits swiped, and I'm in court. So it's not like I can go down to, and put my CV out and say, hi, I'm in court, I'm in contact. I was in contact 3 times a week. I was expected to travel and pay. So what was I meant to do? How was I meant to get from Mold in the country to Wrexham on the train when I've got no benefits? My son's going down to the local farm to get some money in for us at this particular point, because we needed to eat. We had an electric meter, and I kept the benefits going, I think, for the first 3 months, and then it was gone. Just, I mean, for my stuff, the kids' stuff was gone for about 3 months, my stuff. And then literally that whole time I was campaigning, I was to get the car, the first ever initial car, which was from my cousin. My cousin let me take over his finance, because how was I going to go and get a car, like, with nothing and no job? How was I going to go and pay for a car insurance, get car, pay car tax, blah, 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 blah. My cousin was the one that gave me the car to take over the payments. So straight away, I was living in my car and trying to keep £250 for the finance on it, and the tax and the car insurance. So I was trying to keep that going while literally going to all of you families, trying to keep the petrol going. Yes, I would get to the wake ups and one of the photographers would, bust me 20 quid because I'd just driven from London to Manchester to help me get to the next place. So I was going from London to Brighton to Birmingham, Leeds, fucking Manchester, Scotland, if I felt that I could learn something or know something, or it might be like right at the beginning. Obviously, John Hemmings was the first person I tracked down, and Ian Joseph and all of that. I got Ian Joseph on the radio station immediately with me, you know, as soon as I first came into this, and I said, I can't run away. You're advising me to run away. You've got to stop advising people to run away. We can't run away. They have our kids. How the fuck do we run when we have our kids? Go kidnap them? Okay, thought about it. Even tried it out nearly, you know, but what do we do? Because we're under this policying, this policing, and that puts us under, you know, all this shit. I've got to be careful because this is, you know, deep. It puts us under these, you know, and this is the first ever initial one when we came here. Who the fuck's Aaron Boyd? Oh, the person pairing the report. You know, Kelly and Dean approached our services as homeless on the 11th of the 1st, 2016. So, you know, literally, Aaron and Faith were taken on the 13th of December. I was in court for 26 weeks. After that 26 weeks, I was slammed with draconian fucking gagging orders, evicted from my property, had my car hire taken off of me, and literally thrown out with my oldest son. My second son was with his dad safe while all this was going on. And that was it. So what did I do? I took it to the streets. We created Walk for Justice. I created Walk for Justice. Yes, sorry, it's not about Sid. It was never about Sid. Love you, Sid. But Walk for Justice was not about you. It was about a mother who didn't know what the fuck to do. So I fucking walked. I walked. I started that shit. The 11th of September is the day that I moved in with my mum. Yeah. Sid walked because I got gagged and put for a 2-year committal to prison. And rather than going up to Scotland to start my actual journey, and Sid was coming with me, yeah, I had to go to London to face my 2-year committal to prison. And then when we were arriving on the 13th of December, which was the date my kids were taken, yeah, being it's all about Aaron and Faith, sorry, people, it is, of course it was. This is about Aaron and Faith, 100%. My kids were taken. I'm a fucking gagged mum, still asking for the same fucking help I was asking in July. So I've had to learn myself. And if I do find something that helps somebody, I put it out there. Yeah. Gives you no right to me whatsoever. You don't know me as a person. You just know me as the mother who had her kids taken. You know me as maybe the director of Step Up Britain, but you don't know me personally. You don't know what I eat. You don't know my favorite food. You don't know what makes me laugh. You don't know what my favorite book is. You don't know what my favorite film is. You don't know how I like to spend my time. You don't know what paintings I like to make. You don't know what art galleries I like to go to. You don't know what my dog was called when I was a child. You don't know what my pet was called. You don't know what hamsters or animals that I have. You don't know any fucking thing about what hobbies and interests I have, what passions and interests I have, what I love to do, why I'm desperate for a fucking camera. This is all obligatory living. This isn't my life. This is the residual of the consequences caused by Save the Fucking Family, who fucked the family over and have been fucking families over 35 fucking years. There's dead babies buried on their fucking land. They couldn't be asked to do true burials for these babies. I stumbled on something fucking shitty. An innocent fucking mother. And you know what? The shit that I've taken since coming out. 2 seconds. Hi, I'm back, and I'm not sorry because my kids come before any poxy fucking live. Um, just had another thought while I was running back and forth. Right, I needed to be in, where was it? In Manchester, and it was one of the readings from the adoption inquiry by the university. Some lady, never had her children taken, never been affected. She owns her own farm, has a lovely life. She literally hired the car, paid for it, paid for the hotel for me and the two boys, and obviously my son, because he came to look after the kids while I went to the meeting. For you people, for all of you who have ever had your kids taken, all of the meetings that I attended to were never personally for me, they were for the network. And you know what? She never asked for anything from me. All she wanted to do was help me get there because she knew it was important and she believed in our cause. So then I need to be in London, and you all see I'm trying to get the van sorted because I've obviously got two kids. I need to get out there to get all these statements, to gather everything in, to do all this work for everybody. I don't charge anybody a penny. I don't charge for my time. I don't charge for my services. I don't charge to help. I have saved so many freaking kids. So many kids. You wouldn't even know how many kids I've saved because I don't talk about it. Sometimes I just say I've had a lovely picture of someone and it keeps me going. They don't sit and trout on Facebook because the first thing that I do is pull them straight off of social media on that level. So, and the reason that I do is another mum going through it now. She gets so much shit from the other parents. So much shit. So another campaigner actually put up the hotel and paid for my train to get back because I had actually made the effort, sorted the van, got all the way up, and I got scammed, as you know. So another campaigner, do you know, I've had so much shit over getting this money back to her. She said to me, I understand the circumstances, don't worry, just throw me bits of money whenever you can. I now have faced this court thing because I then made the decision to go to Cardiff because I'd agreed to meet with her, Lisa, as we know, and go over this paperwork and learn this stuff. So I took the stage to then go, and I invested in this myself. I said, okay, I'll pull off taking the kids up to Monster Truck, come and see you. Had the money to pay her back in full, yes. She decided not to see me because she just wanted money in dribs and drabs because it was about control. People will help you because they either believe in you. Most all MPs, by the way, are sponsored. Someone believes in them, so they sponsor their work. And of course, they get a 60 grand salary once they're in it. But that's it. 60 grand to literally be there for every single headmasters get that just to look after the students at a school. That's just one school. The MP is responsible for every fucking school, every fucking hospital, every fucking NHS, every road, every street light, every cleaner, everything that goes on within that system in their council. So 60 grand's nothing, actually. And they don't get all the expenses. And then people whinge because they have to travel to London and they have to stay in London and they have to give up their family and their time. So, you know, this lady here, where is she? I quite like this girl. Not Donna. Where's Donna? No, not Donna. I don't like Donna. I haven't met her yet, but where is she? Oh, I got another one off some ex-police Bailey thing. I actually wonder if that's a real person. But basically, these people who make the decision, I'd have run as an MP this time, but, you know, I don't have £500 and 10 people to support me right now. But, I mean, let's use Donna as an example. You know, let's use Donna Jones as an example from Conservatives. I don't know if she's got children, but there's another one. She's got a child. She has to basically pay for her child to go to nursery because she doesn't get any of the vouchers because she's over the salary. So she doesn't get free childcare. She has to pay for her childcare. So she has to pay for her childcare, and then she'll probably pay for her child's education. She'll probably pay private, and keep her home over her head and her food and everything, serving the people. So this whole live was about whether or not I go into the lion's den, or should I even perceive the courts as the lion's den, and should I perceive it as the courts of justice? Is it about perception? Is it about how we perceive the world? Or actually, is the system there for those that want it and everybody else can live what we call off the grid? But at the end of the day, we live in a society that if the land can be used for the community in a way that isn't being used, then they can take that land. But who owns the land? The land is owned by the Queen, whose father and their forefathers basically killed people. Do you know that when Prince Charles and Prince Diana went on their honeymoon, one of the reporters tried flying over to take a photograph? Do you know they were told that if you do not move, you will be shot down? So here comes the big old grand thing. If the courts are a court of Moses and a courts which is the Babylon, then therefore we have no chance of justice whatsoever. However, I have been through these courts. It might have been 9 years, but we got justice and got my uncle out of prison because it was a fair trial. So let me read this again. Kelly and Dean approached our services as homeless on the 11th of January. So basically, I left Downing Street. So from July 2013 to July 2015, for 2 years straight, I was on the road permanently. Not a day stopped. Not a day, not a day, not a day. I was either with a parent, helping a parent, sitting in a court learning, protesting, demoing, talking to somebody. In my case, I was locked out, mate. I knew I was locked out. I was completely locked out. There was no process for me within the court other than the road that I'm about to take, which has never been done before, because nobody's ever tried or actually felt that they could litigant in person, because nobody actually has the money to pay a solicitor to prosecute these people. And I'm going to prosecute them. I'm going to prosecute them for I have to do it under libel and slander, libel, liberal, whatever it is, and slander. I also can do it under medical neglect. I can do it under medical discrimination. I can do it under mental health discrimination. I can do it under criminal, under a kidnap because it was unlawful and unnecessary. So remind me again, this is a child protection conference. So Kelly and Dean approached our services as homeless on the 11th of the 1st, 2016. So basically we left July, and then I think it was October, Dean was held on remand, and then literally he was released, court was closed, and we came straight here when I was pregnant with Elijah. They advised us at this time they had been living in their car for the past 2 years and travelled around the country doing missionary work, as it's classed, as they put it, and accessed various homeless services. They had not made a homeless application to any other local authority. Kelly's mum lives in Portsmouth, but she was unable to accommodate the couple as she has other children living at home. Kelly and, well, actually, no, that's actually not true, because my mum was living on her own and she has a 1-bedroom flat. Kelly was 14 weeks pregnant at the time of approach. Kelly advised that she has Ehlers-Danlos syndrome, by which her joints were flexible, painful, and her cervix had been trying to open, which puts the pregnancy at risk. She spent a recent spell in Bristol Hospital where she was found to be hemorrhaging. Hospital told her that sleeping in the car will increase risk to repeat hemorrhaging and the risk of losing baby. The couple were placed in temporary accommodation and inquiry made to determine any homeless duty Portsmouth Council might owe. And that's it. No criminal, but it's child protection. There you go. On 8th of March, the decision was accepted by the homeless towards Dean and Kelly, and they were placed on a waiting list for a one-bedroom property in line with our allocation policy. An offer of 12 Edgbaston, which is where I am now, was made on the 6th of the 4th. A viewing was then held on the 13th of April, and then obviously we've moved into here. And I have had to live under the rules of child protection ever since, which meant I wasn't allowed to touch my paperwork. I wasn't allowed to do any paperwork, and I had to only deal with their meetings. And I have literally been under the dominance of health visitors since, and been told I wasn't allowed to work, basically. And I find myself having to deal with all of this, that now it's at a point now where, you know, it's too damaging now. I've got arrears coming up left, right, and centre because I kept trying to keep the cause funded, and I was putting up my own bills to keep the thing going. You know, I even took out a loan that I was paying back to be able to get to all the inquiry things, and I'm just not willing to do it anymore. I can't do it anymore. So what I can do is set a precedence, and that's what I'm going to do, because I'm sick and tired of the persecution and discrimination that people with physical conditions that you can't see face. And I live with them every day. And I have every right to have the people that I need in my life around me. It's like prime example with my crack book. I made it very clear that this winter for me was hibernation, to get on top of all this stuff, get my own life in order, get all the stuff ready in line and get my book done. And then I've got Amber flashing up that I'm doing lives every day, and it's like, how are you in my best interest when you know right now I need healing, and I will live when I can and want to live, and I don't want to be part of anything right now. I don't want to put my energy into anything, because the only thing that I can do right now is restructure my entire life, focus on my own health, and get this stuff in order and clear these debts. And yeah, you know, when I say foundations and fundamentals need to be in place now, I can't jump in a car and put my petrol out to be something, especially I've got the two boys. And I think it's absolutely fucking crazy that people had even expected a mother who was going through all of that while pregnant. You know, people came along in 2015 who'd never met me, who jumped on the bandwagon of something I'd started in 2010 and 2012 when I broke my gag. And just because I then came into the services and worked with the services, you know, I got, basically because I had two more children. And what happens is people who are losing their children subconsciously don't want you to have children, because if you can do it, it says they could have done it. And there's a mum out there who's losing her child, and I'm not being funny. She's not losing her child because she deserves it. She's losing her child because she's got people around her who don't want her to have a child. It's as simple as that. And that's really sad. That's really, really, really sad. If that mum came off her crack book immediately now and went and followed exactly what I said to do, she would be home with her baby. And in fact, if she had listened to me right at the beginning, when I told her that when she knew she was going in to have a baby, she would have come out of that. She would have come out of that mother and baby with her child. I can guarantee you that. So I think that's very sad. So unfortunately, we live in a capitalistic society. There's nothing we can do about it unless we want a massive big revolution that says that we're all going to get out there and help each other. And we're all going to make sure that there's lights on the road and the streets are cleaned. And we're all going to come together to make sure that children are all educated, because they do need an education. Children do need to verbalize, talk, communicate, spell. There are people out there that don't do that for children. And we do need a network of people that look out for those that can't help themselves or are going through something. We all go through things. Mum and dad dies, nan and granddad dies. We cry, we tear, we have grief. We crash our car, we get annoyed, we get a puncture on the fucking road. You know, we want to decorate our home. You know, we have to buy paint. We, you know, in order to get a Christmas tree, if you want a Christmas tree, you know, if you want a fake one, they cost money, or someone. We have Free Cycle, we have these different things and these different tools. But the reality is that unless our entire UK people all come together now and go, you queen, who's covered up for your son, who's a bit of a perv and a bit of a sod, but he's probably not a really nasty bad man who's like, you know, raping 2-3-year-olds and fucking selling them and trafficking. He's just been a squirmy old little git who's you know, been a dirty old man basically. He's not right at all, but it's not the same as, you know, really nasty people that are raping and whatever, you know. Did he know that Epstein were grooming these people, or was it just some wannabe actress tart, you know, who enjoys the whole celebrity lifeline that, you know, ended up in bed with him? Who knows? We weren't there. But do we have confidence in the Houses of Commons? Because we're not looking at the Houses of Lords, remember, we're just the common people, guys. We're the commoners. So we have the Houses of Commons, the Houses of Lords have the Houses, you know, the Lords have the Houses of Lords. You know, you're either a lady and lord and part of that world, or you're a Houses of Commons, or you're, you know, off the grid and whatever. So anyway, I wonder if somebody did something to hurt you. One, who do you call? Because in this country, if someone broke into my home right now, we call the police, because they are there to protect and serve. But it doesn't really work that way, does it? So at the end of the day, we're about personal responsibility and accountability. I have to be personally responsible for my electric, my gas, my water that I use, running the bath, the car that I use, the petrol that I use. And I have to be personally responsible for where my time can be and where it's delegated and how my time can be used. And also by setting boundaries with people that I do actually have time, and this time could be chargeable. I would rather it wasn't. I'd rather just sell my book and work for people for free. That would be really handy. But I have to have a capital coming in. It's as simple as that. And we were such a mass network in 2013, 15, but the people that come along after that cause so much shit for the people that come before it, as it always does. And I've seen it so many times in all of them. Fathers for Justice, the lot, how things divide, break down, blah, 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 offshorts and all of that sort of stuff. Again, like the system, you know, becomes fragmented. And so it doesn't work. It's just a hope diversion, as Archie used to say. You know, it just gives people false hope. So that brings me back to, we are pretty much a world based on lies, fake ass people being fucking fake, fucking people over, and I think this is really sad. So I have come to the point now that I can't rely on anybody. I can't depend on anybody. I don't trust anybody. And I'm quite happy to hibernate and actually put my faith in the courts and sue the fucking asses off of the social worker who called me attractive in a street corner kind of way. Do not believe her lies when I'm asking people. I don't want to have sex with people. I don't want to get pregnant. And then these people who have said EDS is the easiest condition to claim to have. And then also these fake ass people that keep liking to take my car off of me. The good thing is they would have never have known it was me in a hire car unless they, follow it or track it or whatever. Crazy. But anyway, I haven't actually been charged or fined for anything other than the fact that I didn't attend court. So now the policy people can turn up and arrest me and put me in fucking prison again. So not only have I got the fact that I got joint tenancy classed as an untidy tenancy with benefits now wanting to take me to prison for benefit fraud, and not only that, have I had 2 cars taken off of me, I've also got the fact that they can put a warrant out on me, even though I have a TV there that's connected to a DVD player. But because I have a laptop, I have to pay TV license, even though that is not connected to a TV. In fact, I have BT phone and internet, but I have no BT TV in. I don't even use BBC iPlayer or anything like that. So now they want to take me. So now also the fact that it's an untidy tenancy, I've been classed as I'm not entitled to a single person discount, even though Dean Asley doesn't live here. So now I'm up for fraud on that. So I've had enough. I've had enough of this system, and I just want to be independent, living in a home that I own. Well, do we ever really actually own it, being it goes all back in the box and it's owned by the state? And I can't actually be bothered anymore in trying to make people understand that we're all fake ass people living as fucking slaves for the Queen Bee. And if you're in the benefit system, mate, it's because they don't want you part of fucking society, and they are quite happy to shove you in a council block and keep you completely policed and policied out and make sure you don't have enough funds to have a car to travel, and that you do actually use the local amenities around you so you don't go off further than your actual nose, and you can just be kept out of the way in your little FEMA camp that you can't see around you because what a fucking shit fucked up world we live in, eh? That's all I can actually say. I'm just really, really, really glad that I love Christmas films, because I love seeing happy endings. I love seeing people destitute, struggling, and someone just comes into their life and everything's okay. And I love to see that people care, and I love to see that people want to make a difference in people's lives. But I can't be arsed with the fake ass ones that are doing it because they're showboating for votes, or they're doing it for greed, or they're making money out of people. And I really can't be arsed with all of this stuff, because oh yeah, there's the loan that I took out to be able to get down to London. Didn't take a loan out for me to go and buy boots or clothes, because I don't actually have anything. As you actually know, these are the same jeans that I wear every day, and pretty much the only jumper that I own. You know, what else have I got here? Before I go. So basically, look at this. This is how much money they want off me for taking Aaron and Faith off me from tax credits. Where is it? So basically, from the day that I went in the papers and I went through the government self-employed system, so I did 26 weeks where I was paid for 26 weeks and then I went self-employed. They have now taking off of me again. So it's, I'm just trying to find I might have already filed it because I needed it earlier on to ring. I've got it written down on here anyway. So basically from the 5th of the 4th, 2012, which is it's March, April, May, June, July, August, September, October, November, December. So that's 8 months before Aaron and Faith were taken. They want to rape all that back. So that's £11,484. And then because me and Dean came together and were issued tax credits when we first came together, because we then separated, I could pay back all of that, even though I'm just paid from a different department. It's crazy, isn't it? And then they illegally kicked me off of income support. Oh, by the way, I was told I'm not allowed to work. So being illegally kicked off, they now have to pay back the first month, and that's fine. I don't even mind paying back all of it if I go back to work. That doesn't bother me. But what they do is, because it's calculated April to April, they're actually taking money off of us that I don't actually owe. It's just that it has to be reset in April. So that basically means that they can keep threatening me with prison, keep bully boying me, is another one fucking to take back as well. You know, keep sending police to my door, bailiffs to my fucking door. But what do they expect me to do about it? So I'm either going to go down the common law route, the beat the bailiffs route. There's lots of different routes. So if you were in my situation, and Dean's walked out yet again today, because he can't even take the boys out to play fucking football so I can clean the house or get these bills and paperwork done. Can't be asked with all of that. So I've got the sales stuff again. I'm going to make this bridge. I'm going to set the date for January, and I'm basically going to plow all the way through, get all this stuff in order, get my head in order, and fuck everything else off now. And I have to, because at the end of the day, no disrespect to people out there, you know, when people are desperate for help, they will grab hold of you even if you are drowning yourself. You know, people will climb all over you to get help, and I'm not willing to allow for that to happen again. I had somebody who actually knew me who asked for help prior to her giving birth to her baby, because she knew me and because she knew my current situation. She was very respectful about it. She hasn't badgered me. She doesn't, you know, she listened, she followed that advice. And I'll probably get a nice Christmas picture of her and all her kids as well. And I don't mind helping, but it's got to a point now where, you know, all these congestion charges from all of these, you know, protests and demos and parking tickets. I mean, I was literally sleeping in the fucking car, you know, waking up with parking tickets on it. So because I'd fall asleep in the service places, and I'd be longer than 2 hours, and I'd get a parking ticket. So I'm going to go and try this injunction to try and get this all in order, because if the police knock on my door to arrest me, we know what happens, don't we? There's 2 children with me. And on that note, if you can't help, don't hinder. I don't need it.